asking people how they're doing and start asking people how they're feeling.
So I gotta make sure I'm watching the news.
God will never waste pain that's offered to him. Nothing is ever wasted.
Everybody that I gotta plan a week gon' be straight. And that we tie that red that you won't hit, so you better not be late.
This is a place of development, and I'm not gonna die here.
Dang.
Cause I love it, I don't care about the fame.
Yo, welcome to the Young Vagabond podcast, man, where we navigate the journey of life together through truth and love. I'm your co-host, Bryson.
And I'm your co-host, DJ.
Look, we back at it, man. This is season 2, episode 3, and we walking free. You feel me?
Ooh, S2, episode 3, bro. Like I said, man. All right, y'all didn't hear me say it. This is our second take. But anyways, that doesn't matter. It's crazy it's getting to a point where you're kind of getting into the groove of it. Like it's no longer as jittery, the feelings every time you record. Mm-hmm. We're in this is going to be the 9th episode we've ever recorded, which is crazy, man. We're about to hit double digits. But hey, man, y'all know how it is. Before we get into it, I just want to remind y'all to please subscribe if you're watching on YouTube and follow if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. We really appreciate it if you guys come and join that Young Vagabond family and be a part so you can be the first to hear of new posts. You can be the first to hear of, new episodes dropping, all the likes. I also need y'all to go down and look at the link in the description. Click on that link tree. Follow that Instagram, that TikTok. Follow it all. Follow everything. Because we really appreciate it. You'll help us grow, which allows us to be more equipped to get to a bigger audience and hopefully change the world and make more of an impact. And so we really appreciate it every time y'all follow. And also share, man. Like if y'all have some episode really speaks to you, I'll let y'all watch a clip on Instagram that speaks to you. Like, man, share it, bro. Because that helps, once again, us grow. I want to thank y'all, of course, once again for the second time in a row. We got more than 100 views cumulatively on all the platforms, which is crazy. Bryson, how you feel about that, man?
Man, look, y'all got me feeling blessed. No cap, man.
No kizzy, no kizzer.
Yes, sir.
No, man, no. But for real, we really appreciate y'all just supporting us and sticking with us. And, we just crossed over 500 followers on Instagram, which was also really big. And it just goes to show just how much support and love y'all showed. I had somebody tell me, I've been with y'all when y'all had just 70 followers, and to see it now, which is crazy, bro. Literally, y'all been blowing it up. Y'all been blowing it up. And to God be all the glory as well. We also want to thank our man Travis, who is behind the screens taking photos for us, bro. We appreciate you and all just everything that you do. He made our recent thumbnail, which is the best thumbnail. No diss to Bryson, bro. Because Bryson. And I made the thumbnail for the first episode. That junk's so bad. It's a black screen with the Young Vagabond logo. And say, "Who are you?" I told you I don't do graphics design at all. That's not my calling. But no, man, and we really appreciate Travis and all that he does. And like I said, appreciate you guys for sharing and for liking. And so,
before we get into it, man, I want to shout out Madison Stewman, bro. Dude, she texted me about the last episode, and she was like, she took notes. It was so many takeaways that she had from it. I was like, bro, that's so dope.
Yeah,
so dope.
Shout out her.
We appreciate y'all for real, man.
Literally, bro. Y'all encourage us to do better. And shout out our haters, too, bro. We had somebody say, nobody watching that Young Vagabond podcast.
No comment, bro.
Bro, that joke was hilarious, bro. That was good. But I had to admit, bro, it's the funniest thing I've ever. I wasn't even mad, bro, because that joke was funny, bro. That was a funny
it was just random.
But it was hilarious, bro. But no, for real, we appreciate y'all's encouragement and y'all continue to rocking with us, man. So we're super excited for this episode, for what we got to get into today. This is our first time kind of having a topic. These past 2 episodes were a lot more free-flowing. But, I think before we got into the topic, I kind of want to ask you this question because literally before we recorded, I got to have a really just awesome conversation with my man Tyrone. Shout out Ty. We just constantly shouting out people, but shout out all of them. I was in a conversation with Ty, this girl named Maya, and a couple other people as well.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm blanking on names. I'm trying to,
you
but like
good, bro.
y'all know who y'all are. Love y'all.
Shout out you.
Shout out you. But no, it was just a great conversation, and it just kind of reminded me how much I love intentional conversations and how like just beneficial to my soul they are. And so, my question to you is, what's one conversation you've had this week that like you would say made the biggest impact on you?
I would probably say the one I just had with me, Jeremy and Travis. That thing was tough, man. Being able to stand in the gap for a brother,
Yeah.
and just let him know that he's not alone, and just man, it was dope, bro.
Yeah.
It was dope.
That's what's up, man. Yeah. No, I mean, like, let me tell y'all. Before, like, I know this is not what we're supposed to be talking about, but I just got no. Like, intentional conversations are beneficial for the soul. Like, find you people in your circle who, at the drop of a dime, you can have an intentional conversation with. Because I've been in circles with people where they just go about talking about nothing for hours. Just like circles of people, like 4 or 5 people, and they all just in there talking about the same. They talk about some girl, then they go talk about some sports, and then they talk about something else, and they go back to girl, and it's like this cycle. And, you know, there's nothing wrong, you know, talking about sports. We love sports. Even, like, if you find a girl pretty and y'all, like, just being over here geeking about a pretty girl, like, we all have those. But if you do have a barometer on where your conversations are. Are they life-giving? Are they something you walk away from saying, wow, I really grew from that conversation? And if it's not, then it may be time for you to start finding and seeking out those conversations, because they're there. Like, if you don't got anyone, you can come up to me or Bryson. We'll talk to you. We'll have an intentional conversation. We'll talk about, you know, something you struggle in, or an area you're looking to grow in. But, like, you want to be able to walk away from your conversations and your relationships with growth, because if they're not propelling you forward, they're dragging you down.
Facts. Do your conversations just fill time, or are they giving you gifts?
Already with it. Well, hey man, we here today, and what we're gonna be talking about is this notion of surviving your freshman year, college specifically, but also just the general idea of new seasons. So, Bryson, let me ask you, how do you feel? Like, when you approach a new season in your life, are you excited, fearful, like what you always feeling?
I got you. So usually when I get ready to step into a new season of life, man, I tend to be excited. I tend to be excited because I'm excited to see how God is going to move, how He's going to show up, and just to see how things turn out. Because, you know, there's a lot of uncertainty in the world, but the one thing that it is certain is Him. Yeah. So there's one thing I can always count on, even when, you know, it may seem like I don't know what's going on. Right. He always knows what's going on. Right. Yeah. What about you, bro?
I think it's a mixture usually of excitement and fear, definitely.
Why so? Why so?
You know, I'm a huge control person. My mom would tell you I'm a huge control person. She knows. She raised me. But shout out my mom. It was her birthday actually yesterday.
Yes, happy birthday to Miss Jackie.
Happy birthday to Miss Jackie. I love you, mama. But one thing about me is when I approach a new season, I'm actually very meek and shy. Like when I got to college, I was very meek and shy my first few weeks. And like people who talk to me, they're like, there's no way, you're not shy. There's no way you could be that. But when I'm in an uncomfortable new season, I'm very shy, I'm very uncomfortable because I'm trying to figure kind of things out. And then once I kind of get my footing, my foundation, I think that's when I start to get comfortable and start to kind of grow out in my personality. And that's when I start being able to just go up to somebody, have a conversation with them. But like when I first got to school, it was hard because it was new. Like for me, I can empathize with a person who walks into a season and has no idea what's going on, because it was my first time being an adult, my first time being out on my own, like for real. Not like just I'm coming home in a week. Like, no, I'm not coming home for a month, 2 months. It was my first time experiencing really difficult schooling and through college. And my first time where it was really just my choice about my faith, like where I was going to go, like what direction I was going to choose, because I had so many different things. For first time getting to college, girls would call me cute. I never been called cute and stuff like that
Oh
before.
my goodness.
And so like there's all these opportunities to get into things both good and bad, and I'm trying to sift through all those things. And so it was I'm super grateful for it because it taught me a lot, and it really anchored me in the things that I needed to be anchored in. But it was definitely a really scary season.
Yeah, I will say, just hearing you talk, it reminded me of how sometimes my excitement can be to my detriment. Because sometimes I get very green, I get very excited, but then when the first big thing comes up, I kind of get a little like nervous, or I'm like, calling on my family, like, yo, can y'all pray for me because I'm worried about this thing, and they reaffirm me and things like that. But I will say, like, I understand where you're coming from, bro, because it's a lot of untreaded territory.
Yeah, uncharted waters.
Yeah.
I think sometimes we let our passion get in front of our purpose.
Facts.
Because we get like, this is huge for me. Like, we get so excited about the purpose that we lose sight of the purpose, trying to take the steps instead of we get so involved with, yo, this is the next step I got to take. Like, what's the next step? What's the next step here? And all of that we lose sight of why we started in the first place, And I think I'm going to pull up because this came from the conversation that I had with Ty. And I told him I'd have to put it on the pod. But he said, we get so focused on what we can do, we forget what God can do. Like, we get so distracted. And it gets really easy because when you're in a new season, like when you're comfortable, and you in a comfortable season, you already seen how God worked. You're a lot more like, okay, I know He gonna get me through this. Like, I ain't got to worry about that. But like when you in a new season, a lot of the times we feel like, oh my gosh, it's all on me. Like when I got to college, I felt like it's all on me. It's all on me to get my good grades. It's all on me to make good decisions. It's all on me to make good friends. That we forget that it's actually none of it's on us, and it's all on God. And all we got to do is take the next step of obedience.
Yeah,
like obedience. I've been reading the book of Mark, and I remember writing down this. It came from this verse of this basically Gentile who came to Jesus and was like, my daughter, she basically is demon possessed and she needs healing. And he was like, okay, but first I want you to do this thing. And it was something about like having her eat or something like that. And she was like, okay, I'm gonna go do that. And then he said, because, like you have said this, because of your obedience, basically, you like your daughter is going to be healed. Your daughter is going to be delivered. And so our obedience is tied to our deliverance. Our obedience is tied to the passion, the thing that we are wanting to have delivered to us, whether it be some passion, it be some desire, some goal. It is tied to our willingness to be obedient to the process and being obedient to what God has for us.
Yeah, it's facts, bro. And I like to look at life as like a book. I was listening to a sermon this morning by Pastor Craig Rochelle, and he talked about how we tend to compare our chapters to everybody else's. And he was just spitting, bro. And one thing that I kind of took away from it was going back to what you said about the obedience, right? The obedience, it happens throughout our lifetime, right? It's not just a one-time thing. It's a lifetime choice to be obedient, right? And we have a chapter of DJ in high school. We have a chapter of DJ before he got to college, and then we have a chapter of DJ when he's in college. Yeah. And all of those things that you done in your obedience in the past led to that moment of you being in college, and what you chose to do then going to that moment forward. Yeah. And I just think it's so dope when you learn to analyze and look back on things as chapters in life. Yeah. Because you start to realize that, man, it's just weird how things are orchestrated. Bro. Yeah. Like a blessing in disguise.
Right. Yeah. No, I think this really actually fits into something I wanted to touch upon, which is journaling. I think that's a really practical way to be able to observe the chapters of your life. Recently, I was telling Bryson about this. I looked through my journal just over the past year because, this is now my second year at college. So I'm a bit more, when I got to school, I already had responsibilities. I already knew what was going on. I had Bryson, I had friends. But it was being able to look into my journal. It was a window basically back into a previous chapter. And it allowed me to do reflection of, oh my gosh, look at this, what I was praying for in August. God answered it in October. I didn't even realize that he answered in October. This thing that I was hoping for in March, I'm seeing the blessing of that now here in September. And so journaling is one of the most powerful habits you can ever develop. Even like I don't journal on a day-to-day basis or have like a routine of when I journal. Like I'm gonna journal I just journal whenever I feel led to journal. But pick up that habit, man. Like I know like especially for men it can be like this, oh, you got a diary. Like who cares? You know? Yeah, I got a diary.
This junk.
That junk. And what's crazy is that, like for the people who are not watching, who are listening, he just held up his journal. That journal that Bryson has ministered to me. So sometimes it's not even about you. But there's many times I've written things in that journal that's been like, man, this is not even for me. This is for Bryson. This is for Verge. This is for Travis. This is for somebody else. Yeah. And I get to minister to somebody else. But because I allowed myself to do a debrief and to go back into the chapter of my life, you never know how a previous chapter of your life can minister to somebody's current chapter of life.
Exactly, man. Yo, God is so good, bro. So, like I said, I was listening to that sermon this morning, and I was listening to a podcast with Caleb Gordon. So I got 2 fire quotes that I kind of want to break down and hear your thoughts on. Yeah. So the first one is Craig Groeschel. He says, the providential will of God is like Hebrew. It's best when read backwards. So when you look back on your life, when you recollect on those things, when you go through those old journal entries and you see those answered prayers, you start to see the hand of God all over your life. You start to see how God moved. You start to see how he didn't desert you, how he didn't leave you, how he provided here, how he made a way here. Yeah. And I think that's so cool how he broke it down, saying it's best read backwards. Yeah. Because in the moment, you know, we're trusting God for the future. Right. But when we think about how God brought us to the present, we'd be like, man, it really was a gift. Yeah. Dude. No, I think we have amnesia of God's faithfulness. Jeez. A lot. Jeez. Like we are all like, Lord, you are good. Singing in worship songs, you know, he is more than it. Be like, we're all about that when things are going great. Yeah. But when things are not going great, it's crazy. 'Cause I do it. We forget. And we're like, God, where you at? But like, bro, when we look back into, like you said, reading, getting a chance to just read it backwards, seeing how God has blessed in the past and the past and the past again, we get to remind ourselves. Like I recently read this verse in 1 Samuel. I'm gonna pull it back up again. I got to pull it up. But it was so powerful, and it said, and I'm gonna read the KJV version. It's 1 Samuel 36. And David was greatly distressed, for the people spoke of stoning him, because the soul of all people was grieved, every man for his sons and his daughters. But David encouraged himself in the Lord his God. Like, and to give a bit of basically context, basically they got back from, I guess, some war campaign, and they got back to the city, and like everybody was gone. Like they took everybody. Like they took the mamas, the daddies, the baby mamas, baby. Like all the women and the children were gone. Like they stole the whole city. You basically. Know what that reminds me of, bro? What? Did you hear about it was a while back. It was like the dude. He's hiding in your windows, snatching your people. Oh yeah. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking. Hide your kids, hide you out. but yeah, that's what they should have done, bro. They should have hid their kids, hid your wife. But they didn't, bro. So they were gone, bro. And so they were mad, obviously, because I would be pissed off too. And they were talking about stoning David, because they were like, this, like, how he gonna lead us and all that. And he was down in the dumps, and he had to, I like how the verbiage that KJV specifically used, David encouraged himself in the Lord, his God. And I'll give you a recent example. This past Sunday, I had something happen, and that's why I read this verse, because it's this whole thing that I posted on my story. But I had basically a situation happen that left me kind of disappointed, and so I'm over here like just being upset about it. And I was watching the Tim Ross podcast, shout out The Basement, and this is exactly what they ended up touching on. So I'm like, okay, like I need to do that. I go to church that same morning. I get prayed over, and that person who prays over me used that exact same verse, like same verbiage, all of it. And it really got me thinking, like, yeah, we have people who encourage us in our life, but some of the responsibility does fall on us. Like I was thinking about, it's a battle, bro, to have a positive mindset. Not be positive all the time,
because you can be toxically positive, and that's not healthy. But to have a positive outlook on life, to know that God's about to perform something, even when it's difficult, that takes work, bro.
It does.
It takes it's a mental struggle, bro, because like you have to fight tooth and nail with yourself to not think like it's hopeless, because that hopelessness feeling it's gonna creep in, bro. But it's so worth it, and so we have to do the work to encourage ourselves in the Lord. We have to do it, because if we don't, we end up having amnesia and forgetting all that God has done for us beforehand.
Yeah, man. Like, even I think the Holy Spirit hit me with this, bro. Like, think about the word recollect. You have to recollect and think about the things of the past, right?
Yeah.
It's because you let them go. You
Yeah.
forgot about them. So you got to recollect the things that were yours in the first place.
I clapped that one up, bro. Gotta let that one marinate for a second. Hold on.
You got to recollect the things that you let go of, the things that you let the fear take, the things that you let the scarcity mindset take, the things that you let the enemy try to rob you of, bro. They were yours in the first place.
Yeah.
You got to recollect them back.
Right.
So you can walk through this season.
The enemy comes to steal, kill, and destroy.
Bro.
He trying to steal and kill and destroy that joy. Because like the situation that was discouraging came right after amazing, encouraging conversation that me, you, and Travis had. And I remember you saying like, hey, bro, the enemy, he gonna come for, and he did. And he's sneaky about it, because it wasn't like this big temptation or this big bad situation that happened. He used my own desires, my own, passion for like lost people or whatever against me to lead to some unmet expectations, and then try and lie to me and be sneaky about it and say, okay, well, the Lord not working in this area of the life, so you might as well just give up. But like you said, he's trying to steal something, but we have to remember it's ours. Like, it's not his. Like, sometimes that's what we think. We think it like these thoughts that he's given us this distorted version of the story, and we got to take back the real story, because the distorted version, what he got, but he trying to do a swap, but that swap not gonna work. We got to remember, I'm in charge. Like the Lord, like the same spirit that rose Jesus Christ from the dead now lives inside of me. I'm in charge. I don't got to sit there and let the enemy lie to me. I don't got to sit there and let the enemy beat me down with negative thought after negative thought. I don't got to take that. I'm not going to take it. I'm going to fight back, because at the end of the day, he already lost. And when we remember what position we have over him, when he tried to remind you of, oh, this thing didn't go right, when he's trying to remind you of past mistakes, you got to remind him of his future. And that's one of my favorite quotes that I've ever heard. And when the enemy try to remind you of your past, you remind him of his future, because he losing. And he's trying to take you down with him. And that's why you getting hit with these negative thoughts and these negative situations. But when you fight and you remember, all I got to do is encourage myself in the Lord. I'm victorious. Enemy got to back up.
Hey, that's what I'm talking about. Bro.
Hey, bro. That wasn't even what planned, bro.
This man. But no, it just makes me think about like how he says in scripture he comes to steal. It's because you have something of value. So we give the thief something to steal when we give our lives to Jesus. He's like, dang, I want that soul. But the thing about it is, man, you can't take the ruby from a guarded house.
Right.
You can't do that.
Amen.
So like when the Bible says guard your heart at all costs, man, guard that stuff, bro. Guard your mind. Gird it up with the truth, bro. Because like the enemy coming to steal.
For real.
But when you got them bodyguards, when you got the 66 in the clip, you feel me? You ain't got to worry about, bro.
Or the Bible blicky tucked on him.
This, man. And then like the second quote, bro, because we talking about like, navigating through seasons and stuff like that. I feel like this is going to resonate with you heavy. It comes from Caleb Gordon. He says, your story is your superpower. What is that spark in your brain when you hear something like that?
Dude, just the power of testimony, man. Let me tell you, the reason that I tell so many stories on the pod, because like when you go back and you listen to me, I tell a lot of stories of like that reminds me of this situation, is because the power of testimony. I'm not in your shoes. I've never walked. I have no idea like what it's like to be you, but I do know what it's like to be me. And I do know that some things that I've walked through is some things that you can relate to. And the power of my story comes in you can spit all these facts at people of this fact here, this fact here, this fact here. I mean, we see it with politicians. They do it all the time where they just spit these facts after facts after facts. But what really resonates with the heart, because like you can penetrate the brain with the facts. Like you can get to the brain. The brain can logically understand. But the thing about this, the brain is most of the time not fully in control. Like just the heart. Like the heart, because I mean, like it talks about that in the word, like you said, to guard your heart. But like the desires in a man's heart is what leads to the actions. So it's heart first, brain second, action third. It's not. Well, I think we get that mixed up. Where we sometimes think we omit the heart and we just think brain first, action later, or we think the action happens first and then we think about it later. Like, oh, we have all these other. We're out of equilibrium when we're trying to think like that. It is first heart, then it gets to your mind, and then it comes out in action. And so what stories do and what my story does is it goes to the heart first. It skips the action. Because you can watch my actions in my life and you can be like, okay, what he's doing dope. You can hear me talk and me spit all these things about facts and about stuff like that. But when I tell you a story about what God has done in my life, that's when you really know, like, okay, I can feel this. Like I can empathize walking through depression during COVID. I can empathize having a difficult relationship with people close in my family and having to amend those wounds. I can empathize being angry with myself for past mistakes and holding those things against myself and tearing myself down day after day after day. Like I can empathize with that way more than I can empathize with a couple of facts. And that's why I think stories are so powerful, bro. Because I want you to kind of talk about this, because we talked about it on the first episode, where I want you to just unpack it just a bit more, that our lives can be the exit sign for somebody else. So kind of just talk to that.
Yeah, man. It's kind of like an onion. You know, you got to peel back the layers to get to the center of the onion.
Yeah.
It's the same way with people. Like you said, a lot of people can see DJ that's out here, you know, talking about the Lord, being passionate about the things of God. But when they get to peel back those layers, they see what got DJ to that moment. Yeah. What got DJ to be DJ today. And when you get to see what's behind the layers, you get to understand, like, yo, dang, you know, DJ struggled with depression. I used to struggle with depression.
Yeah.
Or DJ dealt with rejection. I'm dealing with rejection right now.
Yeah.
Like, maybe I need to talk to DJ.
Yeah.
Or, you know, just you get to see that people are human.
Right.
Because all of these all-stars, all of these superheroes, if you will, that we see today, the people that are killing it, bro, life was kicking their butt one time, too.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's still kicking their butt, but they just found a way to get out of that. And most of the time, like of course for us, it's the Lord.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And, bro, once people realize that you got a little dirt on your past too, man, it's a whole lot different, because they realize, you know what, if they can get the dirt off of them, if they can allow the Lord to clean them up, I can allow the Lord to clean me up as well and get me out of those situations.
No, stories appeal to our shared humanity. I think we get lost in the sauce a lot of times because we're all trying to project this image of perfection and of non-humanness, basically. Like we're in this rat race to look perfect, and what we're becoming is these non-humans, like these alien version of ourselves. Because, I mean, I'm guilty of this. The version that I project on Instagram is not the version of DJ that's always out. You know, sometimes, you know, I got all these nice pictures of me in my nice fits. I'll be in a jogging hoodie most days, be chilling. You know what I'm saying? And we're always trying to project this version of us that's not real. And what stories allows us to do is, like you said, is it strips back all of that. Because, I mean, you can lie when you're telling a story, but when you are telling an authentic story, it's raw, it's real, and it appeals to the most authentic version of ourselves, which is the human version of ourselves, not the Instagram version of us, not that TikTok version of us, not even a version of us that we portray when we out in social situations or at school or whatever it is. It's the most human version of us. And so when we tell stories, bro, it is so powerful. Like the power of a story is way more powerful than any fact or reasoning or deductive statement that you could say. tell stories because stories really impact people.
That's true.
That's a leadership principle right
This
there.
man. No, that's true though. And I feel like you got two choices, bro. You can either show people a movie or you can give them a book. And the reason I say that is a movie shows a lot of highlights.
Yeah.
You got a lot of action because they want to keep you engaged.
Right.
But a book, you turn page by page to get character development.
Yeah.
Learn more about the morals of the character, the things that the character is going on, their environment and all of that thing. So you can give people a movie, which is you can give people the highlight of your life. You can show them, yo, I made it through this, I overcame that. Or you can give them a book and be like, yo, when I was overcoming this, I was going through this, I was dealing with that. You know, this didn't work out for me, but this did. And I think that's even more great because that shows more intimacy, shows more vulnerability. And vulnerability is our superpower. Bro.
Yeah.
Like, even going back to how we were talking about navigating freshman year, bro. Freshman year, it's a whole different ball game for me because I genuinely believe there's nothing that can prepare you for college.
Yeah.
Cause like, bro, I came to school. I'm sitting here at New Maroon camp. I'm on a high right now, dog. I'm like, bro, I'm finna come into school, kill it. I'm finna come into school, kill it. Everything's smooth, right? First day of class, I get hit with a 32-page syllabus for a general psychology class, bro. And this man said, yeah, and then y'all got to know that joint because we gonna have like a quiz on it.
Dang,
I'm like, bro,
they doing syllabus? Dang.
32 pages, bro. And like, dude, I remember my first day, I was so stressed out, dude. I called my family. I was like, look, y'all got to pray for me because I don't know how I'm going to make it. And, bro, like, I don't know, man. I don't know where I was going with that. But, yeah.
No, that's vulnerability right there, bro. And, like, that spoke. I'm pretty sure, right, just somebody sitting on the other side of this screen, like, whoa, really, Bryson? Like, that Bryson dealt with that? Yeah. I'm dealing with that. Like, you just encourage somebody right there just by talking about, like, yo, it was overwhelming for me. Because it is overwhelming.
Yes,
and I think, going back to this movie and book example, how long does it take you to read a book, like, on average?
To read a book, I'm sitting with that junk for at least a month.
At least a month. How long does it take you to watch a movie?
They give me about 3 hours.
3 hours tops. And that's like really long movie. When we give people the highlights of our life, we give them a short changed version of who we are. Because what do people almost always say when somebody turns a book into a movie? The book was better. Because the book is better. The booker is more detailed. It's more authentic. It's more true to the actual form of what the original artist meant.
Exactly.
Ooh, bro, hold on. God is the artist of our life, bro. He is the creator of who we are. And when we try and turn his story into a movie, what we're doing is shortchanging the creator of the universe. Hold up, bro.
Snap, fam.
Oh my gosh, bro. Hold up, bro. Oh, hold on, bro. Hold up. That's what we're doing, bro.
Bro, nah, fam. You know how you talked about control?
Yeah.
It really goes back to the control aspect because with the movie, you can control the narrative. You can direct it. You can be like, yo.
You can pick and choose which parts of the book you want.
Yes, you can pick the scenes. You can play it out how you want to. But when it's a book, man, all them details are in that joint. Whether you like it or not.
Whoa. Bro, that's powerful, bro. Like, that's ministering to me, bro.
Thanks.
Like, we are literally shortchanging ourselves. That's why we live in a world that feels we're so all connected to each other, but we're so alone. Because we're all getting the highlights of each other's life. We're getting a 3-hour experience of what should be a whole month of learning about a person.
Yeah.
Like, you can't learn everything you need to know about a person in 3 hours. That's why Tinder dates, like, you could be like, okay, I thought he was a great person. Find out he's a horrible human being. Because you can put out this fake image for 3 hours. But like, if you get to know a person for a month, 2 months, you find out who they really are if you have an intentional interactions with them. And so we can't shortchange the creator, bro. We can't shortchange ourselves by continuing to project this movie version of us when the real life is the book.
Yeah, man. That's so true.
Bro, we could end this episode right now, but we didn't need to. No. No, but like, I was going a completely different direction, I thought at first, but like, no, that's too powerful, bro.
It is.
I think kind of bringing it back to the whole point of this topic, which is talking about how to navigate this freshman year, I think that's really the number one thing that you could take away at first is just be yourself. Like, I know we're always like,
That's so true.
be yourself, everyone. Like, not everybody gonna love you.
Yeah.
They're gonna be people who gonna be haters. They gonna say nobody watching the Young Vagabond podcast. Like, they gonna be like that.
For sure.
And that's okay. Because I said this during my one-on-one with my boss. Shout out my boss, by the way.
Yeah.
Shout out Caitlin. But every action has an equal and opposite reaction. So if you're not having an emotion, you're not gonna get any resistance.
Oh wow.
You ain't gonna get no pushback. So if you trying to be like everybody else, you ain't gonna be making no motion. There gonna be no ripples in the wave because you just doing what everybody else doing. But when you start being yourself, you gonna get pushback. And if you getting pushback from people you don't know, then you know you're doing something right because they're not even taking the time to understand you. They just hating. Now, if you getting pushback from people who love you, understand, then you got to do a reevaluation of like, okay, make sure I'm moving in the right direction. But even then, sometimes when you being yourself, you're being your authentic self, like not everybody gonna like you.
Yeah.
And that's completely okay. But do you want to look back on this college experience and say, man, I was just playing the part of who I thought I was supposed to be? Or are you going to walk away from college saying, man, I did everything that I wanted to do. I became everything I wanted to become. And that's really what it's about, is being authentic and like learning, failing. Like, I love how you talked about, you called your family the first day. You didn't call your family like, oh yeah, everything's great. We just doing good. Nah, because it wasn't good. And that's okay. My first few journal entries are like, God, I'm lonely. Like, this sucks. Like, I want to go home. Like, I don't want to be here anymore. Right? Yeah. And being okay with that and being authentic about that allowed me to learn from it, push past it, and then get to where I am now. And to be able to minister to somebody, some freshman or some student who maybe they're not a freshman, maybe they just had a hard freshman year and they still are kind of looking for that and are feeling that way. But now I can be someone who can minister to somebody else. Like, there's too much at stake for yourself and for other people to not be authentic.
That's so true. You can either be an actor and play a role, or you can be a character and live out the story. It's so true, bro.
I love it every time.
Man. But nah, bro, this is something I had to learn my freshman year, bro, because I came in, like I said, like very green, expecting a lot of people to, like me, this, that, and the third. And I started getting pushback. And eventually I got to the point where I got fed up with it. And I was like, you know what? I remember specifically saying, I was like, if I live my life trying to satisfy everybody else, I'd never be happy with myself. And that's so true. Because if you're trying to live up to the standards of everybody else, they're changing just like you are.
Yeah.
So what makes you think that their status quo is always going to be the status quo?
That's good. And you can't grow for real if you playing a role.
You can't.
Like, it's called character development, not actor development.
Yep.
Like, you develop as a character. When you going through a story, you're developing as a character. And you can't do that if you playing somebody else, because you're always focused on playing somebody else that you don't even know who you actually are.
Yeah.
And so this freshman year, bro, like, it is the best year of my life to date. I grew so much, am doing so much, and am happier than ever. Going through all that I went through some tough stuff. I mean, Bryson, like we talked about it, but I found I was already kind of finding who I was in high school, because thank God, but I really found who I was in college. Yeah. And I got to grow in who I was in college. But you can't grow in who you are if you're not even being you, because if you are growing, you're growing in something that's not you. And then you're going to eventually get back and be like, I'm not even this. Like, I've been doing this. I've been participating in this. I thought this is who I was, but I never actually did any actual self-work on myself to figure out who I was. And so now you're walking out like, dang, bro, I wasted all this time, bro. But like, this year can be one of the greatest years of development for you, or it can be a year of just wasted space. And like, what are you going to let it be,
Yeah, facts. Like, so many times we try to be an archetype when we can be authentic, bro. Yeah.
That's what's up, bro. I'm sorry. Every time I always gotta like take a step back. And it's like I'm gonna get to a point where I'm gonna be like, yeah, and I'm gonna keep going. And then
man.
people gonna be like, anyways, no, man, but I think that's the building block of what to do, because once you understand who you are, then you can go out and be bold, you know?
Yeah.
Because I think that's another pitfall that a lot of people I knew my freshman year and a lot of freshmen I know now can fall into, because they're trying to fit into this archetype. They're not being bold because they're not confident enough in who they are to go out and be bold. One of my biggest tips from my freshman year is I was doing everything. Like I committed to nothing, but was doing everything. And I think that's the way to go about it. Commit to nothing, but do as much as you can your freshman year. Because the reason you don't want to commit is because you got to understand and find out what you like and what you enjoy and what you don't like and what you don't enjoy. But put yourself out there regardless. I used to, my freshman year, go to our student union. There's a huge bulletin board with a bunch of events, and I would just pick an event to go for the day. And I'd be like, I'm going to show up. I ain't going to know nobody there. I ain't gonna know what to do. I'm gonna be there though. And I met so many people. I met my friend Taryn. Well, I had to do this, but I met my friend Taryn just waiting for my books. He just started talking to me. We started talking, got each other's, contacts. And that's I love that dude. Like, that's one of my brothers for real. Like, top tier guy. I met someone, my friend Steph. Shout out Steph. If she watches the pod, probably doesn't. But shout out her anyway. At a Battle of the Bands thing, I didn't know what I was doing. I don't listen to that kind of music anyway. Like, I'm not like a huge like alt rock person, but I was there and I had a great time, and I met a bunch of people, and somebody I still talk to this day. Going out in my lobby of my residence hall and just talking to people there. I met another one of my best friends. His name's Dante. Shout out Dante. From the Caribbean, Trinidad and Tobago. I said it right just for the pod.
Yes, sir.
But I normally say Tobago because it's funny. But like all these things, every time I put myself out there and did something I was uncomfortable with, I grew, and I met someone who helped propel me towards my future goals. And that's big, bro. When you know who you are, you can live out life of boldness. Ooh, that's a quote right there. When you know who you are, you can live a life of boldness. Because when you don't know who you are, you're meek because you're not sure. You're trying to keep up with the status quo. You're trying to keep up with what's popping right now because it's going to change, like you said, so fast. So you're always adjusting. So you can't be bold, because if you commit too hard to this one thing and it changes, you're gonna look lame. So you don't want to commit too much. So you always live in this life of meekness. But when you know who you are, bro, you can commit to whatever you feel you need to commit to, and you can do it boldly and you can do it well, because you know at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what other people think. I'm doing this for me.
Yeah, man, I agree with you, and I think we can even introduce the topic or the notion of developing in the dark, because a lot of times, a lot of freshmen, myself included, we compare ourselves to a lot of motion that everybody else has. Like, we see DJ at everything, we see Travis doing this, we see Verge at all these places doing these things, but that's their journey. Yeah. You don't know what they did in the dark or what they had to go through in the dark to get to that point in the light. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I was reading the book of Judges the other day, and it was this man named like Japath.
Shout out Japath.
Something like that. Judges 11, y'all name check me. But he developed in the dark. Yeah. He got one chapter in the Bible. He developed in the dark, but he led Israel to conquer like a part of something or something like that, right? So, but the cool thing about it was he was discarded. Yeah. He literally developed in the dark. Like, he was an outcast, but then they called on him to help free them from persecution. And I say that to say, sometimes there are things that you have to go through, things that you may have to maneuver and mature from, that take time. Yeah. You know, and you may have to develop in the dark, and that is okay. I think so many times we try to rush growth and we try to rush to get to the point of where DJ is, where Travis is. But the thing about it is, you may not be ready for it yet.
And when you're secure in who you are, it doesn't matter what other people are doing. Because you know, like you said, their journey is not your journey. Yeah. and like we go back to this. If you're not uncomfortable with being uncomfortable, you're not comfortable with growth. Like you're gonna walk into an area. Like when I first time got to college and I started lifting weights, like actually lifting weights.
Yeah.
I was so uncomfortable. First of all, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what this machine does. I'm over here trying to, I don't know what I'm doing. But like I have no idea what I'm doing. But now I can walk into the gym. I got my routine. I know exactly what I'm finna hit, and I can go and I can do it well and I can leave. But the person who's just starting, they don't know that. They don't know that, oh my gosh, this person who looks like they just know exactly what they're doing. They over here benching 200 something pounds. They don't know that at one point they were just like you. Like they were just in your shoes not too long ago. And so when you recognize that and kind of have this delayed gratification mindset, which if you don't know what delayed gratification is, watch season 2, episode 2 of the Young Vagabond podcast. Anyways, when you have that delayed gratification mindset, you know that you're not doing it for you now. Yeah. You're doing it for you later. The future benefits are worth the current costs and the current feelings of being uncomfortable. And we can apply that to every area, not just gym. You can apply that to your academics, like because the current cost of saying no, I can't go to that party at the city limits. I got to stay here. I got to study. I got to lock in. I'm not gonna drink that or do that because I know it's not gonna be good for my soul. Like it's gonna be bad for me in the future. So I'm not gonna participate in that. Are the current costs? May you not be that cool, or you might miss out on something or something like that. Yeah, that's gonna happen. But the future successes of what you're gonna get in return for that initial investment, that initial seed that you're sowing, is so much more worth it. And I think that's a huge part of college that take a lot of freshmen a lot of time. And it took me some time to remember that, like, this year you are sowing seeds that you're going to reap for the rest of your college experience. Yeah. If you build your entire social life and your entire just everything college life around partying, that's gonna be your 4 years. Whether you like, it may be fun and you may be ready to get out, but now that's your college life. That's all you got. So you either gonna be lonely for a while until you can build a new community, or you just gonna stick with it. And because a lot of people hate being uncomfortable, they just end up sticking with it. Or you can build your college experience around people who are going to propel you forward, around goals that are going to get you to where you want to be. And you can build your college experience around that. And I'm not saying that like partying may be an aspect of that, but if it's the whole thing, then you're setting yourself up for failure. If it's built around this idea of anything that is not going to last, or it's not going to be someone you're going to want to be 4 years from now, you're setting yourself up for failure. Because I guarantee you, most people don't want to be 40 years old still going to the club. Like, I would venture to say most of y'all want to be married, or if y'all don't want to be married, y'all at least want to be successful in some endeavor. Why are you not going to build towards that now? Because you ain't got time to waste. Like, because you're going to get to when you're 40 and you're going to be like, dang, man, I could have been way farther than I am now, but now I'm just started because I didn't want to put in that work. Yeah, like I talked to so many people, like at the end of my freshman year, were like, dang, man, I really wish I was like you, DJ. Like you did, like you, everything you wanted, you went for it. And like, I didn't get it all, but I went for it. And because I went for it, now I ain't having to play catch up. I'm chilling. I ain't got to do another application for anything probably to my junior year when I'm starting to apply for internships and jobs. Like, that's big, because everything that I was hoping for, I went for it, and I was able to, through the blessing of God, get it. Yeah. And that's huge, bro. Like, when we live life with purpose and we live life confident in who we are, we can live this life with boldness. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. Nah, it makes me think about the parable of the three men that got the different talents. So one man got what, 5? Yeah. One got 2, one got 1. Yeah. And the one that got 5, double it to 10. One that got 2, double it to 4. One that got 1, hid and buried it because he was like scared of the king. Yeah. And I think we can relate that back to us and God, which I know that's what that parable means. But take God as a gardener, if you will. He gives us these seeds, and these seeds represent seasons of our life. Yeah. So what you do with that seed, how you tend it, how you water it, how you give it nutrients, depends on how it will grow and how it will flourish. So if you leave a season and that tree, that plant is withered, like it's because you didn't nourish it right. You see what I'm saying? But if you leave that season and it's doing well, it's flourishing, it's doing its thing, that means you stewarded that thing well.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we have to do. We have to be intentional about what we are feeding our life, what we are feeding our experiences, and just knowing that each moment could be either a nourishing moment or a deteriorating moment.
Dude.
This way.
Each moment can either be a nurturing moment, nurturing moment, or a deteriorating moment. That's powerful, bro, because when you really view it in that lens, bro, it makes a lot of the things that you are like, oh, man, I got to do this. I got to be a part of this vain. Because you realize, yo, this, at the end of the day, this experience I'm going to experience one time, I ain't going to be on my deathbed like, yo, remember when we packed it out at the club? No, you're going to be thinking about who, like, who my family, like, who are the people I made an impact on? What's the legacy that I'm leaving behind? And that's what you got to build towards now. And I think that, like I said, that's really important. When you come to understand that early in college, that's going to be huge. That's going to be huge for you. Well, I think as we kind of get ready to close out, I think I want to also touch on, because we talk about a lot of these conceptual things a lot of times for Young Vagabond, and some people be like, man, can you just like give me like some tips, you know? And so I think one big tip for me that I think is also really practical, that's not necessarily like this big picture thing of, you know, growth and stuff like that. I think one thing is just time management, because that's a huge thing for surviving your freshman year that you need.
That's so true.
Time management is powerful. You want to be successful in your college experience? Learn time management early.
Make Google Calendar your best friend.
Make it your best friends. You need it, bro, because when you start applying time management techniques into your life, whether it be stuff like the Pomodoro method, or making to-do lists and having a calendar, whatever it is, whatever it looks like for you, because it's different for each person, start making time management a priority in your life. Because if you want to accomplish all the things you're going to accomplish, it's going to look really cool and dope in your head when you're over there like, yeah, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. But if you don't start learning how to manage your time well, it will bury you. You will be buried, because you'll be like, oh my gosh, I'm this, I got to do this, I did this, and you're not using your time with maximum efficiency. Time management is so beautiful is because it allows you to do more in less time, because it's intentionality is what it is. Like, you're taking every moment and you're saying, okay, I'm going to use this time to be intentional about doing work. I'm going to use this time to be intentional about working on the podcast stuff. I'm going to use this time to be intentional about going to the gym. And when you schedule that out, it allows you to be more efficient, and it allows you to not overwhelm yourself with it. Because when I got a calendar, I know exactly what I'm doing, this, and this. And if it don't fit in there, I ain't finna commit. I can't commit because I know what my priorities are. Time management allows you to understand where you are, at what time you are, and to be able to live a successful college life knowing that each moment you're making it matter.
That's so true, bro. That's so true. And that's something I was thinking about before you even said that, bro. Treat every moment like it matters.
Yeah.
If that's probably the most practical tip I can give you.
Yeah.
Treat every moment like it matters.
Because it does.
It does, no matter what you're doing. Because, like, look at King David. We love to talk about David killing Goliath, but we don't like to talk about David tending to the sheep.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm pretty sure David was like, you know what? I'm tending to these sheep, and I'm going to make sure these sheep taken care of. But he could have easily taken that mindset of, bro, I'm just tending to these sheep.
Right.
You know, like, it is what it is.
Yeah.
I'm just doing this so I don't get in trouble.
Right.
But no, he was like, nah, I'm going to tend to these sheep. I'm going to defend them from lions, tigers, bears. I don't know how they got into the same vegetation place, but they work. But I'm going to defend them from these lions, tigers, and bears. I'm gonna go stand before the king, and I'm be like, you know what? They scared. Let me go handle this, because I do this on a daily anyway. Because what you doing on a daily might be something that help you in your destiny, bro.
Oh, that's powerful right there. We all want them Goliath moments, but are we willing to do the sheep moments for preparation? Because if we not, we're never going to get to that Goliath moment.
Exactly. What you're doing on a daily may help propel you forward in your destiny.
Like, we can't, if I didn't have the moments in the chapel reading Ecclesiastes and and reading Proverbs, I wouldn't be starting this podcast because I wouldn't have been ready for it. I couldn't have been ready for it. I wouldn't have prepared myself and done the reflection necessary. At the time, it's like, okay, I'm just, I don't really know what I'm reading. I'm trying to understand that this is difficult, this is hard, but I'm going to keep trusting you, Lord. I'm going to keep doing it. That was the seed that was planting, that was watering towards the fruit that became this podcast, which once again, not only just blessed me, but has blessed other people. All glory to God. There's too much at stake to not live life on purpose. There's too much at stake to not live your life on purpose. There's too much at stake for you. There's too many moments that you want to have, too many Goliath opportunities that you want to reach towards. But if you're not willing to live each and every moment on purpose, you can't get to that Goliath moment. And furthermore, you can't encourage somebody else who may be in their sheep moment. Because I guarantee you, when David killed Goliath, somebody walked away encouraged. There was an Israelite was like, okay, I now know the faithfulness of God because of the testimony of David. And so there's too much at stake, not just for you, but for other people to not walk in purpose.
It is, man. It's too much at stake. It's too
Yeah,
much
man.
at stake, bro. It reminds me of Esther. You were born for such a time as this. You were. It's the reason why you're living right now.
Yeah.
So live that life how you called to live it, bro. Like it says in Ephesians 4:1, walk worthy of the calling.
Yeah.
Whatever you're called to do. Whether you got a job working at Chick-fil-A, man, you better pack them chicken sandwiches the best you can. Or if you in class and you study the best you can, bro. Treat everything like it matters. Because I think the simplest thing we can do is worship God in everything that we do. And the reason I say that is because me worshiping God can be me taking notes intentionally in class.
Yeah.
Me worshiping God can be me picking up trash on the way to class.
Yeah.
Me worshiping God can be helping someone move past their past. I just rhymed all of that. But worshiping God can be so simple. It's just being the best at what you're doing in the moment.
Yeah.
And just giving your all in that moment. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I think sometimes we overcomplicate it, but bro, like it goes back to that point of what you said. Make every moment matter.
Yeah. I like, there's a song that I've really recently been listening to, Monday Morning Faith.
That song's so tough.
Dude, that song's so tough, bro.
Bill's not scared of a Sunday faith.
No, bro, but like one thing that I love from that song, it says, and my everyday offering. I mean, wait, sorry. It's, dang, bro, I lost it. But all I have left to bring is my everyday offering. And what it's talking about is just our life, our obedience.
Indeed.
And when we walk in obedience, one of my favorite verses of all time, Matthew 6:33. But seek first the kingdom of righteousness, and all these things will be added unto you.
Yes, sir.
That organization you want to be in, man, it's just taking a little bit more righteousness. Them grades that you want to get, it's just going to take a little bit more steps of faithfulness and taking them notes. That goal weight that you hoping to hit is just going to take a little bit more willingness and discipline to walk into that, bro. All of it is, if you take the next step of obedience towards the Lord, he will bless you in abundance, bro. And everything. He will add everything unto you. That's what it says. It didn't say some things, but it said when you seek first the kingdom of righteousness, all these things will be added unto you. All the things will be added unto you. So it is so much better to walk in obedience because we don't have to figure it out ourselves. We get to say, all I got to do is be obedient, and it'll all going to work out for me anyway. And that's one of the most encouraging things to remember, that whatever God has for you is better than whatever you can come up with yourself.
Yeah, bro. That's facts. You can either be profitless or purposeful. And the reason I said it is when you get a profit, you get a gain.
Yeah.
But the opposite of a profit is a loss.
Yeah.
And you can either walk through life reaping losses all the time because
Yeah.
you didn't steward your moments well, or you can be purposeful and reap the profit. It may not be as clear cut as we might want it to be. It may not be something that we planned it out to be, but just know that God's providence is always best. It's just like Hebrew is best when looking backwards. So when you're purposeful, maybe 10 years down the road, you're going to look back and you'll be like, dang, I'm glad I didn't go to that party.
Yeah.
I'm glad I didn't get drunk that night. I'm glad I went to that Bible study.
Yeah.
Because it changed the trajectory of my life as I know it today.
Yeah. Dang. That's good. Well, here, man, we're ready to wrap up because our episode getting longer. Did you know that? Like we're at 60 minutes, but this is gonna be our second time. Hey, man, run up the views, run up the watch time. It's better for the YouTube algorithm. Anyway, I wanna hit y'all with this challenge. All right, y'all. Uh-oh. It's called the 1-1-1 challenge. Really simple, right? So every day for the next 90 days, which is the rest of the semester, basically, I want you to do one of each of these things. I want you to make one relational investment. I want you to make one habit investment. And I want you to try one new thing. 1, 1, 1. Well, relational investment, what does that mean? That means investing into somebody relationally. That can be a new person. So it could be meeting a new person. That's one relational investment. Mm-hmm. It could be having an intentional conversation with someone you've already met. That's a relational investment. Whatever it is, don't end the day without texting, calling, or having a face-to-face conversation with somebody where it's intentional, where you're learning something from them, and where it's not just small talk. It can't be small talk. Number 2, one habit investment. If that's going to the gym, that's your habit investment. If you do that for all 90 days, good on you. You did the challenge. But I think it's best to do different habit investments because the more things that you begin to invest in as habits, the more habits you begin to develop and the healthier your life becomes. And so it could be something like just going to the gym. It could be something like reading your word every day for 90 days or reading it that day to build that habit or whatever it looks like for you. Make one habit investment and then finally do one new thing. If it don't have to be as extreme as going up to a bulletin board every day and picking something random to go to, it can be something as simple as, I got this new game on my phone. I'm gonna try it out with a friend. Like we gonna experience this new thing. Oh, I haven't been to this building on campus. I'm just gonna go up there and just see what they got going on. Yeah. Oh, there's this event happening for this organization I'm not a part of. I'm just gonna do that. What that does, it is building you relationally, it's building good habits, and it's building your capacity to be uncomfortable so that when God begins to bless you with your next season, you have stewarded your current season well. So that's the challenge. 1, 1, 1. One habit investment, one relational investment, and one new thing. Try it out. I feel like the Lord blessed me with that, and so I wanted to bless y'all with that. Well, Bryson, as we get ready to close out, is there anything you wanna add on to as we get ready to end this episode?
No, sir. I think you put it in a box and wrapped it with some wrapping paper and threw a bow on that thing,
Well, I appreciate it. Well, man, as always, as we end this episode, one last reminder, please subscribe or follow or do whatever. Follow the Instagram, follow it all. I keep telling y'all got to do it because I'm looking at the stats for the YouTube stats, and I'm seeing like 92% of y'all ain't following the page. I'm like, what y'all doing? Y'all watching it anyway. Might as well follow, come be a part of the Young Vagabond family. So please come be a part of what we're doing. Share it with the people that you know who it may impact so we can continue to grow. As always, thank you y'all all for y'all support. Thank you for our man Travis. We got a lot of really cool things once again coming up the pipeline, so y'all want to be a part of it. We're working on trying to get this LLC set up, bro. We got some cool things with merchandise coming up. It's a bunch of dope stuff, y'all. So y'all want to hear about it. Y'all want to be the first people to hear. So come be a part. And continue to watch out for new episodes. They drop every other Thursday because I know a lot of people have been asking, when the next episode coming out? It's always been Thursday. It'll always be Thursday at 6 o'clock in the morning. So always mark your calendar for that. But yeah, man, you know what we say when we close out, Bryson? What we say?
Yes, sir. Look, y'all be blessed. Don't stress. Do less and let God take care of the rest. We out.
Yes, sir.